on this beautiful Monday night. And as always, I try to pick lively topics based upon my research and studying and analyzing things, hopefully, that my audience would like. Sometimes I get it right, probably 99% of the time, I probably get it wrong. But it's all good. I want to say thank you to the 701 subscribers to this YouTube channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for subscribing. And now we're on to get the next 100 to get to 1,000. So we take it 100 at a time. You know, with the election heating up, and we're on the heels of the upcoming Democratic convention. I think it starts next week, if I'm not mistaken. I'll fact check that. Anyway, I try to be even, fair, and balanced about everything that I'm doing, the pros and cons, the ups and downs, and the positives and the negatives from both camps. Don't think because that I happen to. Well, thank you very much for watching me every day. I appreciate it. Thank you. I try to. I'll bring even the negative aspects of the Harris campaign. Don't think I favor one person or the other, because I'm quite sure Harris and Walsh will make some mishaps and things of that nature. When they do, I'm going to talk about it. All right, now let's get down to business tonight. I found this article in the New Republic. Hopefully, it's called Trump's J.D. Vance pick just got even worse. So let me kind of get into this article. According to the New Republic, the former president is slowing down. His highest profile surrogate is a flop. Seriously? I think most individuals knew from the convention that night that he was not a wise pick. He could have chosen Nikki Haley to be his running mate. There were so many other people that Trump could have selected. Instead of being misogynistic and chauvinistic, it wouldn't have hurt for him to have a woman as his VP pick. Heck, I tried to tell y'all early on, Trump, I tried to tell you in the entire campaign, if you really wanted to win this election, why didn't you select a black woman? There are many out there on the Republican side that are there and that are qualified. So according to the New Republic, when it became clear that he had picked the worst running mate in American political history, Donald Trump shrugged it off. The fact that J.D. Vance was inexperienced, extreme, and generally off-putting wouldn't matter because vice presidents don't. Historically, the vice president in terms of the election does not have any impact, quote, close quote, Trump said when he was asked about Vance during his disastrous interview at the National Association of Black Journalists conference earlier this month. Quote, I mean virtually no impact. Virtually never has it mattered. Close quote. Vance, for what it's worth, echoed Trump soon after, albeit in a sarcastically more pathetic way. My attitude is it doesn't really matter as much as this is a hit to my ego, quote, close quote, Vance said. People are going to vote primarily for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. That's the way these things go. I think my job over the next few months is just to drive home the message that Kamala Harris has been a bad vice president. She'd be a worse president. Bull. Trump was a terrible president. Point blank. And for all the crap that you all keep saying about Kamala Harris, she'll match her record against your record and your VP's record anytime. As I said before, Kamala Harris hasn't made every decision, but she's not the president. She's the vice president. She was in the supporting role. And when you look at her track record, academically she's sound. She's held major offices. You don't become a U.S. sitting senator by being an idiot. Doesn't happen, especially when you're a black person. You know, the first black senator, most people don't even know who he was. Well, let me tell you who he was. Senator Brooks. Look it up. He was the first black U.S. senator, according to statistics in American iconic history. And one of the main things that people seem to forget, the more you attack Kamala Harris, the more we're going to fight for her, the more we're going to stand up for her. If the MAGA Republicans can continuously endorse and put up, albeit go along with all the shenanigans of Trump, his antics, his insults, his belligerent ways, petulant ways, acting like a child 24 hours a day. If the best you have are insults, brother, black people can play the dozens better than anybody. We are good when it comes to throwing down. We've been doing it forever. We came up the hard way, not the easy way. And one of the main things that people don't realize, I don't care what her record was. Just like the MAGA racists, the MAGA bigots, they don't care about anything that Donald Trump has said or done. They don't care about his past. They don't care about the 34 felonies that he has and the convictions. They don't care. They don't care about the inciting of the insurrection. They could care less. Well, we as black people, we don't care about her past and about her record. Now, how about that? That's something for you all to think about. We're going to be supportive of her anyway. According to the New Republic, now back to the article. We won't know what Vance's impact is for a long time yet, and even then, we likely won't be able to say it with any sense of certainty. But he and Trump are almost certainly right. Vice presidential picks don't matter. Even the ones you think mattered didn't really. In 2008, Sarah Palin was a bad pick and one that got marked worse after the housing crisis began. And Joe Biden was a good one. But neither shifted the race. There was little evidence that vice presidents move vote tallies in their home states, let alone nationally. Vance may be a little creepy, and he certainly draws attention to Trump's bad judgment, old age, and in general extremism. But voters already know that Trump is old, extreme, and more than a little crazy. Remember, they kept the Republicans, Fox, the racist and bigoted network, all the major networks kept talking about Biden's age, Biden's mental acuity, Biden's seemingly demented state of mind. But nobody wanted to talk about Donald Trump's age. Well, guess what? Now he is the old guy in the race. He'll be 80 years old soon. He's old. Let's just tell it the way it is. He's an old, white, privileged bigot. He's a relic of the past. Nobody wants to go back to Jim Crow. Nobody wants to go back to segregation. We're not going back to bigotry. We're not going back to the times when black people were continuously marginalized and segregated based upon the colorization of one's ethnicity. We're not going back. Whether people like it or not, whether people agree to it or not, whether people subscribe to it or not, we are not going back. This is a new generation of black voices who are not going to turn the other cheek for nobody. Nada. We don't subscribe to that Judeo-Christian philosophy that they drilled into our ancestors. Slave-taught religion, slave-taught salvation. The slave masters, after raping and molesting their young daughters all week long, had a nerve to sit up in the so-called slave church, making sure that the slave preacher said exactly what they wanted the slave preacher to say. We're not subscribing to that ideology. We ain't turning. We're not turning, ain't thinking about turning the other cheek. For all you white racist evangelicals out there, you all can forget it. We ain't paying y'all no mind. We know you're racist. We know you're bigoted. We know you're secretly working behind the scenes night and day to get Trump elected like you did the first time in 2016. You copy our style. You're trying to emulate us. You want black people's money to enrich your religious organizations, but you don't give a damn about black people. So no, we're not going back. He's old. He's outdated. It's time to move forward. Futuristically, we're going into a different dimension, a different direction. One reason that vice presidents don't make a difference, moreover, is that presidential candidates draw more attention from both the media and the public. And during a busy campaign season are basically always doing something to garner attention. Trump, a one-man free media machine, has never struggled here. Vance might pop up every now and then because a comment endorsing a national abortion ban surfaced, or because he's bragging about telling his young son to, quote, shut the hell up about Pachuca, close quote, but would fade away just as quickly, right? There is a growing sense that Vance may be the exception, however. As the race tightens and Harris is leading in several polls, it's becoming clear that Donald Trump has slowed down considerably over the last 4 years. He is very old. He struggles to hold his thoughts together, even by his own standards, and he has considerably less energy than he did even a few years ago. He can't campaign vigorously, which means he will have to rely on his running mate, whom everyone seems to hate. Vance was chosen under the assumption that they were headed toward a landslide victory, and therefore it really wouldn't matter, even by the standards of vice presidential picks. Running against an 81-year-old incumbent who struggled to string 2 sentences together, Vance was probably a fine pick. Voters and the media weren't really going to focus on him. Democrats had bigger problems to worry about. Vance would be fine. Yeah, but Biden strategically outwitted Donald Trump. And what gets me is that you kept begging and begging and begging for him to get out of the race. Then when he decided to get out of the race, y'all got mad. Y'all got angry. You vehemently said you cried foul. We didn't prepare for Harris. We prepared for Biden. It doesn't matter. He is the incumbent president. If he decided that he wanted to drop out of the race, if he decided that he didn't want to run again, that is his presidential decision to make. And now the race is on. The finish line will come soon. Running against Harris and now Biden, however, means that they are engaged in a real campaign, and Vance's weaknesses are far more glaring than they were previously. He is a liability on several fronts, an inexperienced and off-putting politician with views that are far outside the mainstream. If Trump still had juice, that likely wouldn't matter in a tight election because he would be sucking all of the attention away. But Trump isn't doing that this cycle in the same way because he is old. Trump has said that he won't return to the campaign trail until after August 22nd, the final day of the Democratic National Convention. He has only held one event this month in August 2016. By comparison, he held 27 rallies in 15 states. Because I'm leading by a lot and because I'm letting their convention go through and I am campaigning a lot, Trump said during a rambling, occasional, insane press conference on Thursday. Trump isn't winning by a lot, though. He is arguably losing. But he isn't campaigning because he can't, because he's old. That's the reason why. The Trump we saw at Thursday's press conference was more subdued and angrier. It took him longer to make a point. He jumbled names and made things up and lost his train of thought on several occasions. Isn't that kind of what Biden was doing? And the news media jumped all over Biden. If you think that Kamala Harris is going to let Trump win in a debate, y'all are delusional because she's primed and ready. At least Biden knew and acknowledged and accepted his limitations. But when you are hell-bent on revenge and determined to get it any kind of way that you possibly can, you don't want to admit defeat. He jumbled names and made things up and lost his train of thought on several occasions. In other words, he lacks the fitness and stamina of a candidate who won as an underdog in 2016. Kamala Harris is the underdog. That's where Vance comes in. He should be able to make up for Trump's lack of oomph. But Vance on the campaign trail hurts Trump more than he helps him. He's unsurprisingly, he's uninspiring and goofy. His political program is wildly at odds even with that of many Republicans. As a stand-in, he emphasizes all of Trump's most unappealing qualities. He can't help but disparage people without children or make off-putting remarks. Because Trump is the center of Trumpism and its main engine, and because he is relatedly a malignant narcissist, his movement lacks any real potential surrogate. There are plenty of hanger-ons and people who will happily say insane, blank as warm-up acts. But there aren't actual stand-ins. Vance is going to become that as Trump stays off the trail, and it will likely be a disaster. And let me say this in closing. Narcissists only think about themselves. I like to call it I-ism, because everything is about them and no one else. A narcissist doesn't like to share anything with anyone or anybody. Something is wrong with you if you have an organization and the only people that you want to employ is your family. See you in the next video. Never surrender. Never quit.